Alrighty, we are live. We will see how this goes. Welcome, everybody. This is Jonathan with NycosRPG, and we are prepared to work on the open game experiment and see how this goes. Alrighty, so if you have never been involved with the NycosRPG, the system utilizes many of the things that you might be familiar with and some of the things that you are not. So the first thing you'll notice is that the list of attributes, or what you might consider to be attributes, are actually called the base of the character. And the base of the character is divided into the following characteristics. You have your brilliance, your cognizance, your grace, presence, resilience, resolve, and foundation. And these 7 numbers represent the base of your character. And the base is the foundations, if you will, of all of your saving throws. In NycosRPG, your default for play is to have the ability to do virtually anything you want to do, and all you need to do is pass a check against a saving throw. Now, that is your last attempt or last defense if something goes wrong. So it is best to have skills to replace these numbers when it comes to actually making a decision about an action. So I'm going to go over each one of them, and then we will talk about the die rolling mechanism that's used to resolve them, to create them. And since this is the first time I've done this in this format, I'm going to keep talking basically until somebody mentions something in chat, and I will respond to that and answer any questions. The concept here is that eventually we will have enough players, enough viewers that want to participate, that we will actually have characters that we played in the game. But until that time, I'm just going to be describing how the NycosRPG mechanism works. I have put out several videos, including one about quantum die rolling, and we will speak about that in a moment. But for now, we're just going to work on creating the numbers. So the process for creating a persona in NycosRPG is to use the ramp mechanism for each of these numbers to come up with the values of them. So in the case of brilliance, we're going to start there. We'll just work our way down the list. Brilliance is, and all the dice rolls are basically done in this fashion. So you're going to ramp, and ramp stands for roll, assess, modify, and proceed. And basically, you're going to be rolling against a target number, and if you exceed that number, then you get to modify that number to a higher value and make another attempt. So the first attempt we're going to make for our brilliance is we're going to be attempting at the base, and all of these will start at the same base of 5. Then each roll that you succeed on, you're going to increase the value by 5. And I'm going to talk through it rather than write it on a piece of paper, because it gets really, really confusing. So it's easier just to follow along. If you have any questions, wait until I get done with the first one, and then you can feel free to chime in your question in the chat, and I will respond to it. Now, I am also on Discord, and if you are a patron of the NycosRPG, the patron of the Nykos project on Patreon, then you have access to the Discord and can hop on with me, and we can actually go through the process. Let me hop over there to make sure that I'm online in case somebody does happen to hop in. No moment. Por favor. I lost the channel. Got how to get in it. There it is. All right. So now I'm in the chat so that if somebody hops on verbally, I'll be able to respond to them. So we are now going to be looking at the brilliance value. And the way we do this resolve check is that we're going to determine the values by rolling dice. So the brilliance value, each value is going to start at 5. So we're going to start at 5%, and we're rolling percentage dice trying to exceed that. So as you can see on the dice there, I've rolled 71. 71 is more than 5. So the 5 value, we've assessed that it's more, so therefore the 5 has been passed, and now it's going to be 10. So we now roll again. This time we got 27. 27 is more than 10. So now we're going to roll against that to get to the next number, which will be 15. So we're rolling against the 15. We've rolled a 40, 46. 46 is more than 15. So we're going to do it again. Now, when you do it at home and you're doing the dice rolling yourself, it's a lot easier. I'm having to do this verbally, so it's a little harder. We're at 15, so we're going for 20 now. And we got 25. 25 is more than 20, so we're still okay. So now the target is 25. And now we're going to roll against the 25. We got a 29. 29 is more than 25. So we're good. So now we're going for 30. Now you notice that the numbers are getting harder and harder to exceed, and at some point we're going to fail. We're going for 30. We have 60, that is 64. 64 is more than 30. We're now going for 35. We have 57, I'm sorry, 50. 59. 59 is more than 35, so we're going for 40. 42 is more than 40, so we're now going for 45. You notice each time it's going to go up by 5, so the numbers are pretty easy to remember. So we're going for 45. We've rolled a 48. 48 is more than 45, so we're going for 50. We've got 61. Going for 55. I don't normally get this successful. Usually you're going to average somewhere between 20 and 35 or so as an average. But we're going for 60. Uh-oh. Did we make it? I think we did. No, we did not. So actually we did. That's 0, 0, and a 0. So that is 100. 100 is more than 60, so now we're going for 65. My eyes are up today. That did not exceed 65. Oh, wait, let me get my other glasses because those are not working for me today. No, that is 50 something, so we did not break 65. So now the value for that is 65. So if we can adjust this. Yes. So now we're going to have as our brilliance value 65. Okay, so now we're going to go for cognizance. Now I'm not going to, I'll talk through this second one, and then after that we shouldn't have to verbalize it. But we're going for 5. That's 77. That's more than 5, so now we're going for 10. Why is my... That's 35, so that's more than 10, so we're going for 15. That's more than 15, we're going for 20. That's more than 20, we're going for 25. That's more than 25, so now we're going for 30. And that did not pass. So we did not pass 30, so we get 30. The cognizance becomes 30. Once you've done a couple of these, then it becomes easier and easier. It becomes old hat and nature. So we're going for 5. Boy, I'm having a heck of a time with my eyes today. Not eating my Wheaties, as the saying goes. Gonna have to double up here. That did not. Oh, that passed 15, just barely. So now we're going for 20. That's over 20. Going for 25. That did not pass. So therefore, Grace is 25. So each time you do this, your numbers are going to be somewhere between, and they're going to. Oh, that kid. So each time you're going to roll again. Okay, so that beats 5. That beats. Ooh, it did not beat 10. So our present. This kind of makes sense. We had a nice high brilliance, but our presence kind of stinks at 10. Now, note that these are saving throws, and the saving throws apply whenever you are doing a check against a skill or a lack of skill that would depend on each of these. Now, I've gone over each of them in another video, but I will repeat them once I get done rolling. I just want to make sure we have them all set up for this first example of a character. So now we're going for resilience. That beats 5. Now going for 10. That's 100. 100 beats 10, so we're going for 15. That's 55. Going for 20. That beats 20. 25. That does not beat 25. I hope this is making sense to you, and if not, of course, feel free to drop any comments into the chat, and I will answer any questions once I get done with this die rolling part. I want to get this out of the way. I just wanted to do it on video so people could see what the quantum. This is not the actual quantum die rolling portion. This is the ramp process to create a persona in the NycosRPG. So now we're rolling for resolve. And result, I'll describe them all in a minute. So that's an 7, that beats a 5. Going for 10. 26 is more than 10, so we go for 15. Going for 20. 25. Going for 30. 35. Uh-oh. 35. Okay, we made 35, so now we're going for 40. 40 is beat, so now I go 45. And we didn't, so 45. All right, so we'll explain what the numbers mean in just a moment, but we have to do one more step, and that is we have to do a quick calculation of the average of these numbers. So let me get my calculator up on my screen real quick so I can do the math that way, because trying to do it in my head is not going to work. I can do it, but it's not the calculator, that's calendar. That's hit the wrong button. There we go. 65 plus 30 plus 25 plus 10 plus 25 plus 45 equals 200 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's always 6. Enter. So 33.33. So my foundation is going to be 33. You round as you would in any math equation. Round. If it's a decimal point of 0.5, you move it up. All right. Now, because it's divided, there are 6 numbers. It doesn't come out evenly. All right. So now we need to talk about what these numbers refer to. So the numbers refer to, as I said, your saving throws. So your brilliance base is your common sense, your intelligence, your wisdom, your ability to do calculations. It's how smart you are. Cognizance is both your awareness and your perception and your um, sense of location, awareness, and all these kind of things. And grace is your agility, but it also has a facet or a part of your uh, gentility. Has to do with your attractiveness because you're a graceful person. The higher the number you have, the more graceful you are, and such like. Presence is the effectively the power you have when you walk into a room to change people, to draw attention, to um, influence people. A high presence is a positive, a very impressive person that just walks in the door and blows people away. But presence also, if you can want to do a quick comparison, the one I always try to use is from the Brendan Fraser version of The Mummy. The character of Benny has a very, I'm sorry, that's Resolve. The presence, well, in the case of that movie, Rick has presence. He walks into a room, he draws attention to himself. He can convince people of things, and it has to do with his status or stature. Then resilience is the ability to withstand pain, withstand injury, how strong you physically are, and these kind of things. So resilience is the equivalent of like your strength and your constitution. You would add it together, so to speak. Then the resolve is the one that stands out here. And resolve, although it's the darkest and probably the hardest one to read, resolve is the one that I was using the Benny reference for. A character that has a high resolve can stand his ground when things are dangerous, scary, uncertain, things like that. A person with low resolve will bolt and run. He will not be able to handle the mental pressures. And so this is the psychological equivalent of resilience. What resilience is in physical terms, resolve is in psychological terms. And then the final number, foundation. The foundation is representative of your when you have nothing else. When the action defies description. So, for example, swimming. If you've never been in the water before and you have to try to swim, a foundation score gives you a basis that is, it's not really about your dexterity, it's not really about your strength, it's not really about how graceful you are, it's not really about what kind of a commanding presence you have. It's just simply a basis. And the foundation value, therefore, is the core. I mean, the least the if you boil the person down to one number, it will come down to their foundation value. Now, notice these numbers are not related to one another except for in the case of the foundation, and that's basically an average of them. So now that you've got your basis, the base for your character, then you can build a lot of things. Like, for example, the base gives us the ability to determine the core value. And the core value is the brilliance is the numeric value here divided by 5. It's basically the number of dice rolls you had to make to get there. So I'll start with the easiest one. Presence is 10. That was 2 rolls. So it's 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Now is 2. What am I saying? Presence divided by 5 is 2. Here we go. Grace divided by 5 is 5. Same with resilience. Cognizance, therefore, is 6. Resolve is 9. Now, I'm going to stop right at this moment and talk about the Foundation's score. Foundation's score is 33, so it's higher than a 6. And if it's higher than a 6, it means that a 7th roll had to be made to get to the 33. So therefore, the foundation of 33 is going to grant you a foundation of 7. Just because you had to have another die roll to be able to get to that number. And then our whopping 65 brilliance, 65 divided by 5 would be 13. That's ridiculous. Is that right? 65. 5 goes into 6 once. Carry 1. Yep. Now that's ridiculous. Normally the numbers won't come out that high. If you get one number that is that high, don't beat yourself up over it, but it generally is not normal. Your normal scores are usually considerably lower. They're usually somewhere between 20 and 45 is pretty normal. So in this case, we've got pretty good numbers. So, how do we use these numbers in the game? Now, this session is actually talking about the rote mechanics of